A reading from the Gospel of Luke. Then they said to Jesus, "John's disciples, like the disciples of the Pharisees, frequently fast and pray, but your disciples eat and drink." Jesus said to them, "You cannot make wedding guests fast while the bridegroom is with them, can you? The days will come when the bridegroom will be taken away from them, and then they will fast in those days." He also told them a parable. "No one tears a piece from a new garment and sews it on an old garment. Otherwise, the new will be torn, and the piece from the new will not match the old. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the new wine will burst the skins and will be spilled, and the skins will be destroyed. But new wine must be put into fresh wineskins. And no one, after drinking old wine, desires new wine, but says, 'The old is good.'" We have a very complicated answer to a very simple question, as is often the case with Jesus. Someone asks him a question and he answers with, in this case, a claim about himself, and then two parables. And so the first thing to note is that when Jesus answers them, when they say, "We can't help but notice that your disciples are not fasting," which was, of course, just a practice to develop one's spiritual life and piety and to draw closer to God. Jesus simply says they don't need to do that because they're with me. He's essentially saying they don't need to fast to draw closer to God. They're hanging out with me. So he's making a claim about himself, and he points out that there'll be a time where the bridegroom goes away, and then they will have plenty of time to fast and pray to draw closer to God. So there's one assertion there, and then he offers these little two reflections, one about old and new fabric and how they might be used to mend one against the other, and the success rate of that, and also about taking new wine and putting it into old wineskins. And so Jesus seems to be giving them some reflections on what we would call adaptive change models, where an organization or a person or a community needs to change and have some new practices, or some new life or some new spirit, and it has to come into relationship with and come into functioning along with what has come before. And I won't belabor this point, only to say that we're in a time of great change and time for great need for adaptive change in all of the structures in our life. The church is the first that comes to mind as I'm offering this reflection, but it's also in every structure in my life and probably in yours as well. We're all faced with how it is that we attend to this border between what has been before COVID-19 and what is coming after, and indeed what is coming during. And what is it that we can do to make all that has been good in the past and all that will be good in the future to come together? You'll note that in this parable, or in these two parables, Jesus is not saying that either old or new is good and the other bad. He's not saying that. He's saying there's something about bringing new practices into an established community that requires our attention. So with that, I invite you to ponder where these places are, where these junctures are in your own life, where what has been before and what is coming into being now, how it is that those can be most fruitfully brought together. And may God's Spirit guide you in that reflection. May God's Spirit and love strengthen you as you attend to that development and to that organizational change that comes at all the levels it's coming in all of our lives. My hope for you is that this day will bring peace, growth, and new things in abundance, along with treasuring of all that is old and good. May God bless you and keep you. Amen.